All right, so I'm back, and today we're going to take a look at the Mastermind Creations Kultur, or their version of Tarn. So here he is in his vehicle mode, and it's one of those thingies. I don't know how else to call it. I mean, it's a Cybertronian tank type thing. So you got the treads, you get these. I'm assuming little blasters, and then you get the bigger cannons up here, and that's what you got. I mean, it looks fine. It is what it is. I mean, it's not something. Yeah, I mean, it's just. I don't know how to explain my frustration with these kind of modes. It's just. It just feels cheap, you know? Like, the figure itself doesn't feel cheap. Don't get me wrong. The figure itself feels nice and solid. I think this part here is not quite tabbed in all the way. There we go. There we go. The figure itself doesn't feel cheap, but just the whole Cybertronian mode. I've talked about this before, where it's just like, sometimes it's just like, we'll just draw it with some straight lines and squiggly lines and call it Cybertronian. Just, yeah. Anyway, so these guns here can move side to side, all the way up to there, to the front, up to there, and that's really it. The treads don't move, but they don't need to because it's not, it doesn't need to have that kind of feature on there. The turret moves a little to the left, a little to the right. I think if you untab it a little ways, because it's just on this peg here, you can get more out of the turret, but it's also not very sturdy. And then the guns do move up and down, so you get a little bit of that, and there's a little bit of a rotation in the barrels itself. Or I guess they go all the way around. Untab, no. This one goes all the way around as well and does not untab. So yeah, there you go. Not much else to say about it. So let's get them transformed, shall we? So first we'll untab this guy, and then we will just pull the arms out like this. Like this. Then you can pull this piece here down, and what you want to do is you want to accordion this down so that these pieces here and here are in the downward position, so like that, and then you turn this around and you can lock it in. You can lock it in the other way, but if you do it that way, his head won't be able to rotate properly. So moving the arms out of the way, we can untab the feet from the back and then straighten out the legs. Flip these knee pads down, and then rotate the legs up. You want to flip the back pieces here in, untap the legs from each other. We can flip down the feet, like that. And then he's got an ab crunch forward, which was one thing you'll need to utilize here. So you can pull this back, flip this panel here open, and then you can flip his head out. Like that. Close this back panel back up, and then we can, what we want to do here is we want to untab this section here, rotate it all the way to the back, and then we can plug it back in. And then from there, we can straighten out the waist. And there's that done. For the arms here, you want to pull this panel here up, rotate it around, and close it down. Just like that. It doesn't really lock in. I think in the instructions that shows it's locking in, but I haven't figured out any way to actually lock it into place. So, yeah. And then we want to straighten out the elbows, rotate it forward, straighten out the hand, and then the same thing on the other side. All right. And there he is in his robot mode. And we'll attach the cannon here after we do articulation. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Nice, big, and menacing. Yeah, I like the transformations, kind of quick and easy. Still enough twists and turns to kind of keep you going. Head is on, it's got a swivel in here. So it goes up and down from there. And then he's got the left and the right and a little side to side. He does have painted red eyes on the mask or on the face behind the mask, but they're really hard to make out. Like only at certain angles will you see them. But if you untab the mask, you'll see them a little bit better. Yeah, they're there. They're just sunken way back in. On this head too, so it's like to be sunken in on this head and then also have to go through the mask. It's quite a ways for it to go, and I guess that's from what I understand, it's Roller's face, even though it turned out not to be Roller, but I guess they didn't know it at the time. They just were assuming. So it's got a ball joint up here with a hinge here, so you get up to there, all the way around, and a little bit of a butterfly. Bicep swivel, double bend elbow, wrist swivel. Wrist is on a ball joint, so not only does it swivel, but it's got a little left and right, little up and down, and then the fingers do open and close with the index finger pivoting on its own. Looks like that's just a standard 5mm port. Which we'll find out real quick here. Yes, standard 5mm port. Which means, that one's not, so we couldn't give him Megatron's arm cannon if we wanted to. Waist swivel, and then as we saw in transformation, there is the ab crunch to there. Hips ratcheted up to here, back to there, swivels out pretty much all the way. Thigh swivel, bends at the knee. It's got a double bend knee, but because of this piece, if that wasn't there, then he would have a full range, mostly due to transformation, but it is there. And then the foot tilts a little bit forward, decent back. It goes further, it goes all the way back if you need it to. Rocker into there, and then a toe tilt. So pretty good range of motion on this guy. And then this plugs into his forearm, which will of course limit his posability on this arm, with the elbow just going up to about here. You still get the swivel, so you can get that out a good bit. So yeah, all in all, looks pretty good. Yeah, kind of wish we got a little bit more articulation out of that arm with the cannon on there. Well, we take what we can get, don't we? Here he is with the current Voyager Megatron. And that looks pretty good. I guess he's not that much bigger than Megatron, I think. I don't read the comics. I'm not going to read the comics. I know a lot of people ask me, why not? I'm like, well, I don't want to. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I just don't want to. And there he is with the old Chug Seekers. So he's a big boy. I think he's almost as big as Hexatron. They're 6-shot. Let me grab him real quick. No. He's not nearly as big. And it's funny because it's just like messing with him and then picking this guy up. I got him from a friend, and he came with a broken arm, and I finally was able to fix him the other day. And it's just the plastic quality on this guy is a lot better than the plastic quality on that guy. It just feels more refined to me. This more feels, plastic quality wise, it feels more in line with Fans Project, Make Toys, Chug stuff. Not as refined as that, if that makes any sense. Not saying it's bad. It just, like, this has a smoother texture to it. And this guy's got like a little bit more of a rough texture. So, yeah. And then, the price point, I think I paid $115 on him. I think that's about what he came out for. Somewhere around that range. And then, if I remember correctly, he was $150 to start with. And I think the Continuum one was like 100. That's the one with the chrome but less weapons. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I mean, I do like him. I mean, I don't have any connections to the character. I just was like, he looks really cool. I might as well pick him up because why not? That's where I'm at with my collection. I don't really care to pick up like pipes and tracks and the characters that were in a couple episodes here and there. I'm not looking to pick up the entire DJD. I might pick up the one that turns into the rifle again, but that might be the end of it because the rest of them just don't look all that great to me. In a sense of I didn't read the comics, so I don't know. I'm just going by aesthetics, and aesthetically, the rest of them aren't as pleasing as, say, him and the rifle. But I do like the figure. I believe he looks like his counterpart. I wish that the shoulders locked in a little bit better. And it might be more like character design, but I kind of wish this was a little bit more like streamlined. It just seems a little strange the way it sits there. I guess you can pull these out and plug them as guns if you wanted to. But I guess that's not his look. His look is more like this. But I don't know. Maybe I'll mess with it and just kind of come up with my own look for him. But yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed with my purchase at all. I am enjoying this figure. He's fun to flip back and forth because he's not overly complicated like some other figures. It's still fun to mess with him and get him into some cool poses because he's a very posable figure as well. Pretty stable. It's got those big chunky feet that keep him balanced. So in the end, I would give him I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I think he's a pretty solid effort. If I had more nostalgia for the character, I might have bumped that up a little bit, but seeing as just just from what I can see from this figure, I that's as high as I think I want to go. With just the merit of the figure itself. So yeah. I also want to mention something real quick, just because I think they missed a pretty good opportunity at one point, and that's with their asterisk mode for this guy. So that like all of them got a little bit of an asterisk mode, I guess, which is just like a slightly different paint job, or in this case it was a drastically different paint job. And what it was the same figure, but it was like the red and white, more like an Autobot colors, and it had the Autobot logo instead of that. But when I first saw that, the way that figure was looking, and my first thought with all the red and stuff was pre-Beast Wars Rampage. And if they would have gone with that, I can guarantee you that thing would be on my collection shelf right now. Because this mold, to me, would make a great pre-Beast Wars Rampage. There's just so many things about him that, like the treads, because the Rampage had the big shoulder pads coming out with the crab legs coming off of them. He turned into a crab and a tank type looking thing with a Gatling gun that came out the bottom, whereas he's got like the two cannons that come off the top. Hits some pretty similar cues, and if they would have just made a Rampage head and painted it red just the same way that they did, I think it would have been amazing. I would have picked that up so quick. But yeah, I think they really did themselves a disservice by doing just the Autobot. Mirror image of the same guy. Just like with the World, they did his remold was the Obsidian, and then their remold for, I can't remember his name now. But anyway, he was one of the wreckers, I'm pretty sure. But his remold was Stryker. So I think that would have been kind of cool, just more nods to that era. Which, not many companies are doing except for Trans Art. Which I think they're doing some amazing things. So anyway, I do recommend him. If you're a fan of the character, you probably already have him. If you're just a fan of a fun, cool Transformer and you're okay with spending that kind of money, I recommend him. As long as you're collecting in that chug scale type range. Part of my collection is still chug scale, part of my collection is masterpiece scale, part of my collection is just whatever the hell I want. And this guy's going to go into the whatever the hell I want category and just kind of chill out there. I think I'm going to promote him to be like the pseudo leader of my Decepticon headmasters, because I think that'd be kind of cool, rather than, because I don't have a good Scorponok, so he's going to be my stand-in for Scorponok until somebody makes one in this scale. Please, somebody give me a Scorponok in this scale. Why? Anyway, I think that's it.